this is what my dish looks like close up. Hi everyone, I'm Samantha. Today I'm going to be eating Budae Jjigae, which is also known as army stew. And I'm a pretty amateur cook, so this is like the first time I'm making a big Korean dish like this. Usually I make like just rice and common like beef or chicken and then a vegetable, so I'm really excited to dig in. So for my army stew, I use a rapoki prepackaged packet from Costco. They have the sauce and rice cake and ramen and dried scallion, and then I just whipped that together, and then I added fried spam, fried tofu, and boiled eggs and fresh scallion. So I haven't tried this packaging before, so I'm really excited. So, oh, and I also added some cheese. So let's try this. It's really good. It's kind of sweet, but also spicy, which I don't know if I can handle. My spice tolerance is really low. Let's try the spam. I mean, spam is already good, but with the sauce, it adds a sweetness, which I really like. So this dish particularly played a big role in the 1950s. During the war, there was basically all these ingredients that they had a very big supply of. So, and it was pretty cheap, like spam, cheese, ramen, eggs, hot dogs, things like that. And they would basically, you know, put it in one big pot and make a stew out of it because it was so easy and convenient to make. So usually in the army, they would make this because there was so much, there was like a high sustenance, high supply of it. So that's where the term army stew comes from. And also Budae Jjigae, I looked this up. Budae means like a military base, and also Jjigae means stew. So that kind of that's where the English definition comes from. When I'm craving army stew, I live in Long Island. I usually get it at Yupda. I think that's like one of the Korean places I usually go to. I go to BCD Tofu House too, but I don't know if they have army stew there. If I go to Yupda, it's usually just spicy dishes, and then if I go to BCD Tofu House, I get something like a rice dish that's not spicy. There are some people that comment how army stew isn't really a Korean dish because the ingredients that go into army stew isn't really Korean ingredients. You know, when you think of a spam, you think maybe like the US, and maybe like the American cheese, for example. Again, that's not really Korean. I think it's a Korean dish because of the history and where it originated from. So like I wouldn't think it would matter where the ingredients came from, I would still call it a Korean dish because of the history it has. So I'm really glad that army stew is becoming really popular in the United States, because I feel like Americans should, explore their palate and different cultures of food. So, I can definitely see that different cuisines are shining through throughout these years. And unlike, the pork belly video where they try to have all these different people, different countries, try the pork belly to like see what it tastes like. I can see that army stew is already there in the United States, especially that, they really accepted it as like a Korean dish. I can also relate as a college student, like how they use cheap ingredients to make a stew like this. I can relate as a college student because I basically do the same. Especially when I was living in a dorm room. When I wanted to cook, I basically used like Spam, ramen, and things like that. Things that were convenient to store, and those that were like pretty preserved throughout a long time. So I would basically use Spam and ramen a lot too. Yeah, so we talked about how Korea is growing their popularity globally. I think for sure in the United States we can definitely see that, especially with BTS because they're super popular, their music and their movies. Parasite won the Oscars for, was it Best Pictures? I think it was Best Pictures. And they're really on fire. Like their music and their movie are being represented globally, and I can definitely see food is being represented as well. Personally, I think army stew is one of those most popular dishes around the United States, especially. I think especially mukbangs on YouTube has really popularized Korean food because I think it just looks really appetizing on camera because it's so like, usually it's red, noodles look good, and then there's like Spam and they make it so pretty. And like mukbang is Korean, but I definitely see non-Korean people eating Korean foods on mukbang. So I definitely think Korean food is probably the most appetizing to look at when you're eating. The other reason why I really like army stew is because you can basically pick whatever you really want to put into your Budae Jjigae. For me, locally I couldn't get any like fish cakes or anything because I'm in Binghamton, but usually I would really like fish cakes in my Budae Jjigae, and maybe like those mini hot dogs. Yeah, guys, I think I'm pretty full now. I think I'm done eating, but closing remarks, I really love this dish. I think it had such a rich history going all the way back to the war times, and now coming into present time, it's become a lot of people's comfort food in the United States and also in Korea, which is also amazing. And I think that's The reason why it has become so popularized here is just a great, maybe like a cheat day thing, or if you're looking for something savory to eat. Um, but yeah, army stew has really helped the Korean wave and the popularization of Korea globally. And I really hope you guys enjoyed my video. And I hope you guys try army stew if you haven't yet either. Bye!